Well, that's true to a great extent, but I do still meet a lot of young people, children even, who do read, and considerably more than, say, 50 years ago, when even though we did not have all these distractions like television or computers, video games, still reading was a minority pastime. Say in a class of 35 kids, 2 or 3 would be fond of books or fond of reading, and the rest would maybe read comics, occasionally go to a film, but you didn't have all the things that we're blaming today for this lack of a reading habit. So I would say it's always been a minority pastime, and still is. The only difference is now, since education has spread so much, and hundreds of thousands are familiar with the English language and any other language that they can read or write in, that small percentage of readers, that minority, has in actual terms of actual numbers grown. So whereas, say, 30, 40 years ago, in a year I might sell 100 copies of a particular book, so now I would sell 10,000, you see, of the same. So it's actually the readership in numbers has grown. I think the foundation of good writing is also the language you use. So it should be, you don't have to be a stickler for grammar and all, but it should be at least correct, it should be clear and meaningful. And a writer, I think, should develop a style of his or her own, so that he becomes at least original and different from other writers. The fact that I'd grown up in that area, in the Doon Valley, as a boy. My maternal grandparents had settled there. Also, when I left Delhi, which was I did after 4 or 5 years of living in Delhi in the 1960s, and wanted to go up to the hills and write full time there. Mussoorie was also the closest of hill stations. And I wanted to remain in touch with editors, publishers, people, and not be too far away from them. So it was a mixture of wanting to be away from the crowded city, but at the same time stay in touch with it. Well, if one drives out towards the road that takes you to the Tehri Dam, you go through some quite spectacular scenery. You get views both to the south, that is the valley and the plains, and to the north, to the snows. And you go through some attractive hamlets, and then the dam itself is interesting when you get there. So that's a day trip, but you can stay overnight too. So there are a few interesting excursions, you could say. Not much, because you see, I don't drive. I'm a totally impractical man. I tried when I was 20, 21, when I was living in Delhi. I started taking driving lessons and went, there was this roundabout in Friends Colony, and I kept going round it, and everyone shouted at me, "Now straighten up, Ruskin, go straight." So I did that suddenly. Then I went through a wall, a brick wall. Fortunately, it was only a 1 brick wall. And I stopped on, very affluent people lived there, and I stopped right on the lawn where the group were having lunch. And they did not exactly invite me to join them. In fact, they sent me a bill later on. So my sense of anything to do with cars, machines, anything like that is usually disastrous.